Welcome to toy-polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from toy-polloi, and in today's video we're going to be making some quick accessories for these vintage Battle of the Planets Mark and Jason figures from Brabo or Brabo. These were made back in 1979. These are bendy figures, so they've got a plastic body with metal inside so you can sort of bend them into weird positions. They're rather unique looking figures, and without some of the accessories they do tend to look a little bit more odder than normal, so I thought it'd be nice to try and get them sort of back and ready for display. So let's get on with the project and see what we need to make. So here we have the two figures. We've got Mark and Jason from Battle of the Planets, or Gatchaman as it's known in Japan. These were made by a company called Brabo or Brabo, B-R-A-B-O, back in 1979. These are bendy figures, so they have metal inside them so you can sort of bend them and pose them. They are in remarkably good condition considering their age. Normally the metal tends to break at some point, but these ones haven't, so they are pretty nice looking figures. But you can see that Jason is missing his cape, so that should be something that we can easily make because we can just use the vinyl from a blow-up toy to make something that will replace that. They're also missing the antennas on the back of the heads. There should be a small antenna that sits just in that hole there. In fact, if I bring in a Korean version of a Gatchaman figure, you can see exactly what that looks like. That should be this little sort of post. Very simple indeed. They are also both missing the sort of visors. That I'm not quite sure what we can do with, so I'm just going to sort of leave that for now. I think if we can get the capes and the antennas on, these will look pretty nice. And I'm also hoping that once I've made the capes, I might be able to use them on these figures as well, because these never came with capes. This is exactly how they came when you bought them. They didn't have capes, but I feel they should actually have some to make them look a little bit better. So hopefully I can use the pattern to finish those off. So what are we going to do first? Well, let's deal with the cape first, because I think that's the easiest thing. I have one cape, so that's going to be the starting point. Let's take this into Photoshop and make a pattern, and then we'll see what we can make. Using a scan of the cape that I had, I was able to make this pattern in Photoshop. So I've just printed this out onto some normal printer paper. On the back of that, I've stuck a little bit of double-sided sticky tape, and that's what we're going to use to attach it to the remains of this blow-up beach toy, which I have in a nice sort of bright blue. The original material that they use is actually double-sided, so it's printed on one side and then vinyl on the other. I can't find any material like that, and I know this isn't a perfect match for the colour, but I think it will look pretty nice. The thing I could do, if I've got some black, I could actually stick two pieces of this together just using some double-sided tape. That might look good, but I think for an initial sort of go, I'm just going to make it out of blue because I think it will still look pretty reasonable when it's on display, and that's actually quite a nice match to this figure. So that's what we're going to use. So let's get this cut out, and we'll take some of the stick off the sticky tape. If you stick this on with the sticky tape sort of fully sticky, it's really hard to get off, so make sure to sort of take some of the stick off the sticky tape before you stick it onto the vinyl. You can do that just by sticking it onto some fabric like your jeans or a t-shirt or something like that. It just removes some of the stickiness from it, so it will be much easier to remove from the vinyl in the end. But let's get this all cut out and we'll see what it looks like. Now that we've got that all cut out, let's test it on the figure. This has a rough side and a smooth side. The original material is smooth on both sides, so I think I'll put the rough on the inside. I think that will look the nicest. So we just have to pop that over his head like that. That bit goes around his neck and it should just sort of sit exactly the same as the original one. Yeah, that looks really pretty good. I'm very happy with how that has turned out. It's obviously not double-sided material, but I think for just display purposes, that is going to look really rather nice. I like the bright blue of it as well. I think that sits very nicely with the garish colours on these figures. If you need to make a cape for your own version of this bendy figure, then I will put the pattern available on toy-polloi.com. So go there, download it, print it onto some A4 size printer paper and have a go at making your own. But we now need to fix these missing little antenna on the back of the heads. Let's get on with that. The little missing head antennas I'm keeping really simple. You can see I've just made one there, and all I've done for that is used a piece of 2mm styrene rod, and I've very sort of crudely just shaped the end of it so it's a little bit tapered, and then cut it and stuck it in the hole that's already there on the back of the head. So let's do the next one. So again, I've just got a little file here. Just going to file that end a bit, just give it a little bit of a taper. It needs to be very sort of minor. I don't think it needs to be that detailed, considering how crude the rest of the toy is. I think these are going to be perfectly adequate. This one will need a bit of paint on it. Obviously that one we've left white, so just a little bit of a shape there. That should then fit in the back of this, and we can work out how long it needs to be. So I want it to stick out about that far. So I've got my plastic nippers here, just trim that down. Then we can pop that in the existing hole. It should just push in. Yeah, I think that looks pretty reasonable. So I'm just going to get some paint out and I'll try and match the same sort of dark blue that we've got here on the rest of the helmet. And yeah, I think that will look pretty nice. And there we go, that is it for this project. So I've now got two figures that are back and ready for display. They are not completely restored. I've just done a few sort of basic repairs on them, as you've seen. Adding the capes always makes a big difference to these figures. It just makes them look more complete. And we've added the little antennas on the back of the heads. In time, maybe if I find a complete one that actually has the visor in place, I can make a cast of that and we can get some replacements put on these figures. But for now, they are certainly good enough to go back on display. So if you have any of these figures yourself in your collection and they're missing the capes, head on over to toy-polloi.com and you can download the pattern and make your own. Hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you have, then make sure to hit the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video. And if you've really enjoyed it and want to help me out here at toy-polloi, then why not think about becoming a Patreon of the channel. You get early access to all of my restoration videos, plus access to an exclusive video series called On the Cutting Mat, where you'll see projects and restorations that you won't see anywhere else. So have a think about that, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy-Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos.